Once you've generated the website, the next stage is to consider viral marketing. Viral marketing is brilliant. Most of my business nowadays comes from my viral marketing. And viral marketing is so simple. It works like this. Let's imagine you have a very interesting piece of information, something you really care about. And you send that piece of information to your friend. Now, your friend might find that piece of information so valuable, so interesting, that they send it on to their friend. Now, a third party, somebody you've never met, is now reading your useful piece of information. Now, that hasn't helped you in any way yet. But if at the bottom of your useful information, you also put your logo, or your byline, or your new blog URL, that's the blog address. If you put that at the bottom of your useful piece of information, that useful piece of information is sent on to a third party you've never met, so now they have your logo or your advertising or whatever you put on the bottom. Now this is a very powerful thing indeed. And it's free again. This stuff is all free. Now of course if you're just going to send it to one person, that's not going to make a big difference. But what about if you sent it to all of your customers? Say you've got maybe 500 customers out there, and you send each one of them this useful piece of information with your advertising at the bottom. And they find it so important, so valuable to them, they send it on to half of their customers, perhaps. Can you imagine how many people that's going to? And each time they send it on, they're sending on your useful piece of information with your advertising. So your advertising is getting spread out around the country, and in my case now, around the world. I started off my viral marketing campaign with 1,200 email addresses 3 years ago. Now my Richard's Review articles go out to 21,000 people. And it's free. I pay a little bit of money to a company in America to manage the unsubscribes and things. But it's next to free. And most of my business nowadays comes back from this viral marketing. It's a very powerful way to get new business, and you really should be considering it. And the good news is you don't even have to write the useful piece of information. Look, I do because I'm a writer, I like to do that stuff. But you could easily take my stuff and send it off to your friends, easily, with your own advertising at the bottom. And so long as you leave in a paragraph, which I always put at the bottom of my stuff, the paragraph says, this was written by Richard Mulvey, you're very welcome to distribute it, so long as you include this last paragraph. Richard Mulvey can be contacted at, and then I put my website there. So I don't mind, you can send it to anybody. So it doesn't have to be your own writing. It just needs to be something that's interesting that people will send on. And they value, the internet's lovely, people value that sort of information. Please give viral marketing a go. It is so easy and so effective. Writing articles is also a very powerful way to grow your business. Now, we're not all article writers. We don't all write articles, and perhaps you feel you can't do that. But most of us in this room could. It's simple enough. The articles have to be between 200 and 700 words. Ideally, mine are always around 500 words. It seems to be a kind of 5-minute read. People are comfortable with that. And there are 1 million websites out there that will publish your articles. Hey, I don't know whether it's 1 million, I haven't counted. But it's that sort of number, the huge number. They'll publish your articles. At the bottom of every article you write, put a link in between between the article and where they can get hold of you. Your new URL for your new website, or your existing website, or your email address, or a link to you, a link back to you somewhere. And they will always publish that link. Google nowadays measures whether you're going to get higher up the rankings. Part of that measurement is to do with how many links you've got from other websites back to your website. So the more articles out there you've got, the more links you've got, the more able you are to pump people back to your website, but the higher up Google rankings you get. And that is very powerful stuff if you can get high up in Google rankings. It's going to increase your business. Talking about Google AdWords is also very powerful. I love Google AdWords. How many people here have ever tried using Google AdWords, just out of interest? Okay, a few at the back, a few over here, okay. Now, I was introduced to Google AdWords by my friend Peter. Some of you will read Pete's Weekly, I'm sure. And he was talking about that last year, and we all gave it a go. But it's fascinating. Google AdWords is lovely because it gives you the opportunity to test stuff out for free. When I was a young man, admittedly, as it's already been introduced, it was Queen Victoria I worked for, so just to get that straight. And when I was a young man, we had to send out mail shots. We didn't have the internet in those days, so we sent out letters. And now the letters were very powerful, but to make sure that they were powerful, we would send out a whole series of different letters to trial markets. Send out 100 of one letter, 100 of another letter, and 100 of a third letter. And then we'd see how much response we get from each letter, pick the best response, and then use that letter to send it out to the 10,000 people on our mailing list. Now that's a very standard process, and it's more complicated than that, but the basics are there. Nowadays, you don't have to do that. With Google AdWords, it's very simple. You can use and you can create ads for free. You only start to pay for them when they're successful. When people click on the ad, it'll click back to your new URL, your new website, and of course by getting them to your website, you are able then to grow your business. You're pumping people into your website, all you have to do is close that sale, and you've got another customer. And you only pay for those customers who click on these things, which is wonderful. In the past, I remember the CEO of Coca-Cola said, I know that 50% of my advertising budget is a waste of money, I just don't know which 50%. And that used to be true. Nowadays, we can measure very clearly what is a waste of money. On the internet, it's just brilliant. I put together, this was a couple of days ago, I put together a little, another advertising campaign, advertising my new body language website. So I created a little ad that looks something like this. It says, be a better boss or lover. And I figured that would be quite a nice catchy title, and it guides people through to my website. Now this actually has been quite effective. I tried 3 different ones. I tried be a better boss, I tried be a better lover, and then I tried be a better boss or lover. And this third one had many more click-throughs than the other 2, so I settled on this one. And guess what? I only pay for the times they click. In AdWords, they also give you the opportunity of creating your own website to do this. So this is another opportunity to put another web presence out there. And just for fun, I created a simple website. This took a little bit longer. I think this is 15 minutes to create. But it's very simple. Sure, it's not the most effective website you've ever seen. It's probably the cleanest. You can see I'm using the same model in this one, just to keep some rhythm through the same guys. And it's so simple. How much does it cost? Nothing, unless it works, which is wonderful, truly wonderful. Give it a go. What have you got to lose? A few hours.